Hello everyone, I'm King Jop, and today we're doing something a bit different. Now, I love the game R.E.P.O. I don't know if you can tell, I play it quite a bit on the channel with my friends, and ever since it came out, one thing that really stood out to me is the different designs of the monsters and just how unique and like cartoony but somewhat realistic. I think it's just a really cool art style. So I thought, you know what, I might try and, create some of my own R.E.P.O monsters. I'm not an artist. I'm not like super good at drawing. I'm quite good at what I call like doodling and doing like little sketches on notepads. So I made 3 monsters. We have a small basic monster similar to like the duck and the tick. It doesn't really do anything. Isn't really a threat, but it's kind of like more of an annoyance. Then we have a second character which is a bit more of a level up. Like a medium-sized monster. And then the third and final one is like a full-on like danger monster. Like do not avoid this monster at all costs kind of thing. So yeah, we're going to start off with the first monster. That one is called the Prototype. So when I was creating this guy, I actually based it off of like the R.E.P.O semi-bot. As you can see, I'm like kind of sketching the head just to get a kind of feel for what, size and shape I want. This is my first time actually using my drawing tablet that I've had for like a while, so I'm also a bit rusty. But for some reason on this first one, I spent ages on it. And I don't want to, and it's not like it didn't turn out amazingly, but I just spent ages trying to get it just like the right way. I think because I was actually basing it on something that's already in the game, so I kind of wanted to make sure I had it right. See here, so I'll put up pictures of like the kind of concept drawings I did on my notepad. I'm trying to give it kind of like a bear trap jaw kind of design. And, it kind of worked, got there in the end. So this guy, the Prototype, originally I wanted to call it like the broken one, but obviously, from the start, as you could tell, it's actually based on the semi-bot. In my kind of head lore, it's kind of like a semi-bot prototype, obviously by the name, the Prototype, that the company who made the semi-bots made this, and you could kind of find it, in the buildings, and so it's got scrapped and it's out there in the world, Here you can see I'm kind of cleaning up my line work. That's my main thing. I don't like doing solid lines. I like sketching and doing like rough flicks. So trying to make clean lines is a big problem of mine. So yeah, back into the lore of the Prototype. So actually, not the lore, but how it actually works in the game. My idea is to have this enemy actually like hide in cupboards and hide inside of inside of the cupboards, on like the McJanky station or McYankee, I don't know how to say the word. Inside like the fridge on that map, just hide inside like small cupboard slash maybe like chests, like the chest you could get on like Headman Manor and the Wizard School. Hide inside of those, and the whole idea, you walk up to, oh, what's in here? You open it and it jumps out at you, kind of giving you like a jump scare. I didn't really want it to like maybe deal damage, maybe you can make it so it deals like 10 damage as it like maybe like headbutts you as it jumps out and makes you like roll away. But other than that, I didn't really like the idea of it dealing like loads of damage. So yeah, I just thought it would be like, like again, bit of an annoyance, like walking up to a cupboard, it's kind of annoying to bump into this guy, walking up to a cupboard thinking, oh, I'm just going to quickly open this up, see what we got. And then as you open it, obviously this guy just comes flying out at you, scares the crap out of you and gives you quite the jump. But then obviously my idea is once it jumps out at you, it then scuttles away to try and find another hiding place, and that's your chance to like, whip out a laser gun or a hammer and just smash it. And obviously it's a small enemy, so it won't drop like a really good orb or anything. So color-wise, I wanted to kind of go with kind of like a rusted metal, implying that this guy is quite old, you know, being the prototype to the semi-bots. So I kind of wanted this like grayish, brownish, like rusted metal. And here you can see I'm actually adding rust to it. Yeah, coloring again. Obviously here I tried a bit of a weird method when I was coloring, where I just added a load of color, then erased around the edges. Later on in the video with the other two characters, I just color in the lines. I've never been a big fan of coloring. One, because especially like shading here, you can see I'm trying to add some depth to it. I didn't actually shade any of these because that would take me ages, and I'm not very good at it. So here I'm just trying to add, you know, some dirt and some grime to like the main head part of the body. And, you know, coloring the joints a different color, helping it kind of stand out, and the legs. Now, I heard the developers say that they're actually going to think about adding a arachnophobia mode to this game. And I think this creature will probably come under that as well. If you like turn that on, its legs might disappear and it's just like a waddling head or something. Because obviously it is somewhat like spider inspired. So yeah, no, I thought this would be like a nice little basic enemy, not too much health, you know, jumps out at you, deals 10 damage, runs away, you know, it kind of creates some funny moments. You know, one of your friends has this guy launch out at them and you're sat there wetting yourself as it like scuttles away and your friend's like rolling around on the floor terrified. Yeah, and maybe also I don't want it to be like if this guy's in a cupboard, it means no loot can spawn in there. Maybe that's kind of a way of telling if it's in a cupboard. If you walk up to a cupboard and there's like an item outside of it, kind of implying that he went in and like chucked the item out. But yeah, no, here we go. This is the finished product. Kind of gave it like some weird light bulb eyes, and yeah, that is the finished prototype. Right, so this next one, the footage is a bit shorter because I already had like the idea of what I wanted down like pretty quickly. It's a bit of a basic idea, but you know, I more saw like more of what this kind of creature can add to the game. It's basically just a giant snail, to be honest. But I kind of like I had this idea of like, oh, what if there's a creature that, you know, went around the map and almost like created a trail of slime, and if obviously the character, maybe if they walk on it, they're fine. But if they were to like run across it, they'd slip and get sent flying or something. I think that'd be quite funny. But also maybe if you actually bump into the creature, it gets a bit hostile and might like try and like spit slime balls at you, and if the slime ball hits you, kind of like has like a slow down effect, maybe like slows you. So yeah, it's not, again, it's not a super aggressive creature. Maybe if you got like right in front of it, it would like smack you, kind of similar to what the clown does, where it like kicks you. If you get really close to it, it just boots you and sends you flying, or like headbutts you, sorry, and sends you flying. But other than that, it will just kind of go around the map, creating a trail of slime. If you run through it, you slip and slide. If you just walk through it, you're fine, though. You know, I think it'll just kind of create an element of chaos with this guy. And again, maybe if it spots you, it'll try and spit slime balls at you and slow you down or something. I think that's quite a fun idea. So for the colors, as you can see here, I kind of went for this green, but I do end up changing it to more of like a brown. Coloring in the eyes here, I wanted to give him like more creepy kind of eyes, because, you know, how do you make it like a snail creepy? So I was like, oh, just give it like blood red eyes, make it look like he's like really angry. And I did end up changing the colors because I looked at it and all I could see is kind of like plankton, you know, the green, the green body. So I do end up changing the colors. Yeah, I gave it some teeth here just to make it look maybe a bit more creepy or monstrous. Originally, I was going to make this guy a slug, just a bit more simple. Then I thought, oh, what would be a cool idea if you do actually try and attack this monster? Once it maybe gets to like down to a quarter of its health, it hides inside of its shell. And when it's inside of its shell, it's just like not invincible, but maybe make it so like the only way you can kill it is maybe like pushing it off of like an edge. Yeah, maybe making it so the only way you can kill it is pushing off edge, or maybe make it so you can only kill it using like explosives or something. That would be cool. Like the only way you can get through the shell is with explosives. Here, I'm adding a bit more. You know, I tried to add some texture to it. It came out a bit funky. I do kind of like it. But again, like I said, I struggle with like adding texture and just coloring, so I thought it's kind of like a quick and easy way of adding some texture. This kind of like stripy slime texture, and here I'm actually adding like slime to its mouth. So like I said, maybe it'll be a cool idea to make it so it kind of spits like acid at you. Not acid, sorry. Spits like a slime at you. And then, slowing you down here, I'm adding some like strings of goo between its like teeth. Yeah, no, I do quite like this one. It's very simple, very simplistic, but, it does the job. And yeah. So here we are, getting onto our third and final guy. I have the concept. I'll chuck the concept art up on screen here. So with this guy, the idea is it's like a little small head monster kind of thing that is using these kind of like tentacles / tendrils it has to take control of this robot body. And this one I didn't have an exact idea of what the story I wanted to be, but I kind of just like the idea of this little head using this robot body to seem a lot more intimidating than what it actually is. And also I had some ideas to put like a camera on its head. So yeah, actually getting into the design here. So like I said, this guy, it's a little monster that's taking control of like a robot body. Now this guy, how he works is, kind of what I like to call the weeping angel mechanic of it only moves when you're not looking at it. When you're not looking at it, I can imagine it kind of slowly walks up to you, kind of stomps along, and when it does get close to you, it grabs you and maybe gives you a couple of seconds for maybe a friend to quickly run up and grenade it or something, or flashbang it. It gives you a couple of seconds before what essentially deals like maybe like 100 damage. So if you have a health upgrade, you might survive, but if not, it will one-shot you. So it's a serious threat. You want one of your guys constantly stood there, maybe staring him down to stop him from progressing. Imagine for solo players, this guy will be a bit of a nightmare. But, I can imagine him being incredibly tanky. And I kind of had this idea, I don't really know if I like it or not, of if you do manage to kill it, maybe the head pops off of the robot body, and then the head runs around as its own little enemy that you also need to deal with. I don't know, maybe make it run around similar to the gnomes, where we'll run up to you and deal a small amount of damage, and you just need to grab it and fling it to deal some damage to it. I kind of like that idea, making it so like, oh, once you kill it, it's still a bit of a threat. So yeah, in terms of the actual design, now this one, I think, out of the lot, didn't turn out exactly how I wanted it, but I was a bit drained, and I struggled to draw kind of humanoid figures. But as you can see here, I'm giving it kind of like these cool tendrils coming out of its body. Maybe it uses those tendrils to pick you up once it does get close enough, and then uses its actual robot arm to like, I don't know, slap you or something, send you flying, give you like a proper slap to the face. And here you can see, I'm giving it. I kind of wanted to give it this effect of if you do turn around and look at it, it's almost like just staring at you. Maybe like its head slightly quivering and shaking, and you can see like the here, yeah, I'm drawing the camera. You can see like maybe the lens like zoom in on you, and kind of just give it off this really like eerie, creepy kind of idea of it's just stood there staring you down when you are looking at it, to maybe make you kind of think, oh, well, maybe I don't want to look at it. I kind of want to run away, but you need to look at it to stop it from progressing and coming towards you. So yeah, I imagine how this monster is. It'll be like I said, this monster work will be up there with the other big, strong monsters. Something that you want to avoid at all costs, But at the same time, it's one of those monsters where it's easy to deal with, as long as you have someone just stood there staring at it. But say another monster shows up, you're like, well, I can't stare at it. I can imagine, again, it could create some chaos. So yeah, like I said, out of the lot, this one I struggled with the most, and maybe one day might have another go at designing it. But yeah, that is the Observer. So there you have it. There's my three guys. We have the Prototype, the Slime Fiend, and the Observer. The small enemy that's quite weak, more of an annoyance if anything. The slightly bigger enemy that can attack you and deal some damage, but it's quite easy to avoid. And then the final the big guy who you want to avoid at all costs. So yeah, if you did enjoy this video, guys, do be sure to like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments actually which one is your favorite. I'd love to hear some ideas of like maybe how you guys think these monsters kind of work. Maybe add to what I've already said. Yeah, and if you guys have any other ideas, maybe like some slight tweaks I could do to them. And yeah, but I would like to know which one you guys like the most. I personally quite like the Prototype. I think I put the most effort into that one. And I just like, the kind of goofy idea of having this little guy that jumps out and jump scares you whenever you're trying to get into a cupboard or something. But yeah, if you did enjoy, guys, do be sure to like and subscribe. I would like to do more videos like this. I maybe do a follow-up designing even more monsters or adding more depth and lore to the guys I've already created here. But yeah, like I said, do be sure to like and subscribe if you did enjoy, and I'll see you in maybe another R.E.P.O video. Goodbye.